Well, Denmark's Liberal opposition bloc has won the parliamentary election after strong gains by an anti-immigration party. The centre-right party's won enough seats to form a majority likely to be led by the former Prime Minister, Lars Løkke Rasmussen. Nathan Motten with the story.
A former Prime Minister set to be returned to office 4 years after being removed from the top job.
We've gained an opportunity, just an opportunity, to take leadership of Denmark. And that's the task that we take upon our shoulders. That's what I will do. I'm full of energy that I really want to use to create the results that I want in a Denmark that is experiencing growth, success and welfare throughout the whole country.
With all mainland votes counted, the centre-right group has secured a majority of 90 seats in Parliament. Despite a slump in his own party's fortunes, which saw a decline in support from 26% to 19%, Mr Rasmussen was quick to repeat his promise to crack down on immigration.
We want a Denmark that is developing throughout the country. We want a Denmark where it pays to work. We want a Denmark where we can control the flow of asylum seekers so that we can secure integration. So when Danes look into the eyes of someone with a different ethnic background on the train, in the street or at their work, they look into the eyes of a person who wants to be Danish.
The opposition parties have previously endorsed British Prime Minister David Cameron's bid for EU reforms. Helle Thorning-Schmidt, Denmark's first female Prime Minister, has conceded defeat and resigned as leader of the Social Democratic Party.
Good leadership is also knowing when to say stop, and that moment is now.
The Danish People's Party has emerged the second biggest party in Parliament. The anti-immigrant, anti-European Union Party secured 21% of the vote, up from 12 4 years ago.
I am really surprised about this result. We are probably not doing as well in the big cities, but no matter what, this is a marvellous result for Danish People's Party.
Mr Rasmussen must now try to form a coalition with other Blue Bloc parties. Nathan Motten, ABC News.
Professor Ian Manners is with the Centre for European Politics at the University of Copenhagen, and he joins us now from the town of Jyst in Sweden. Good to talk to you tonight. What did you make of the result in Denmark?
Well, it was an astonishing result. The most successful candidate, the Prime Minister, fell from power. The third party comes to power, and the biggest growth of the night, the Danish People's Party, it would appear, don't want to be in power.
Which is a strange place to be, but of course we should look what's driven this rather unusual result, and of course it is just this kind of race to the bottom in terms of anti-migration, isn't it?
It was a terrible election in terms of the language, the discourse used by almost all the parties, constantly blaming everything and almost anything on migrants, immigrants, asylum seekers, with very little reflection on the role which this kind of language creates in Denmark's image, both within Denmark and in the world as a whole.
And that's such a good point, because so often Denmark is looked to as a leader in the way they have integrated migrants. In fact, we were just talking about had a story the other day about how they are dealing with people perhaps that go and fight with IS and come back. Why is it now that there is this fear?
Yeah, I think the Danish People's Party have been incredibly successful in playing the politics of fear ever since September the 11th. They have, in some respects, led the way across Europe in moving ordinary politics to the right and laying the blame for anything from the European Union, the global financial crisis, and even the events in Syria and Iraq onto foreigners and immigrants within the country.
How do you think the government will be formed, and how stable will it be?
Yeah, a really good question. Very, very difficult. Both the government party, the Liberals, and the Conservatives dropped in votes, and they lost last time. So they're now in a very difficult position. The two parties that they're likely to form coalitions with, but it's difficult to see them both being in the coalition. The Liberal Alliance, which is a libertarian party, and the Danish People's Party, which is a far-right party, those two parties don't share any views apart from their dislike of the EU. So it seems likely to be a minority government with the support of those two parties. Whether either of them actually enter the government coalition is a very difficult question to answer.
Yes, and of course we saw what happened to the Liberal Democrats in Britain as an example, that they don't make easy bedfellows.
That's right. I mean, the Liberal Democrats, I think, is a lesson for all. If you look at the coalition partners of Helle Thorning-Schmidt, her coalition partners suffered terribly at the election this time. The Social Liberals and the Danish Socialist People's Party both suffered and had their votes halved by sharing party politics and by sharing the government of the left. So I think it's a very turbulent time for politics in Denmark.
Ian, really good to get your thoughts. Thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome.